when we talk about the great civilizations of antiquity. The first names that come to mind are Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Greece. But there is one people who have been deliberately forgotten. People who built pyramids, controlled vast gold mines, waged wars, and even ruled Egypt. These are the Nubians, the children of the Nile, guardians of immense wealth, and warriors capable of striking fear into their enemies. Nubia was located in what is now Sudan and southern Egypt. It was home to a mysterious civilization that thrived for thousands of years, yet its legacy is often overshadowed by the grandeur of Egypt. However, the Nubians didn't just coexist with Egypt, they rivaled it, influenced its culture, and even seized its throne. Amid the majestic deserts of Nubia, cities, temples, and pyramids rose. Their rulers, known as the kings of Kush, wore crowns inlaid with gold and ruled with the same authority as the Egyptian pharaohs. Nubian warriors were famed for their skill with the bow. And Nubian women could be more than just queens, they could be sovereign rulers in their own right. The Nubians were traders, artisans, master metallurgists, and builders, and their gold mines became the envy of many conquerors. So why do we know so little about them? The history of the Nubians was erased, their achievements claimed by Egypt, and their culture suppressed. But today, we will restore the truth and tell the story of a great people who deserve recognition. Gold, a metal that has driven people mad for centuries. It has sparked wars, inspired great discoveries, led to betrayal, and given birth to countless legends. But have you ever wondered where gold was first mined? You might think of Egypt, Persia, or ancient Greece. But no, the true land of gold was Nubia. For thousands of years, the Nubians extracted gold from the desert sands and rocky mountains. Their mines were among the oldest in the world, and the gold they produced was used to craft breathtaking jewelry, crowns, and amulets. It was Nubian gold that made Egypt rich. Pharaohs sent armies and caravans deep into Nubia to take control of these treasures, but it wasn't just Egypt that craved Nubian gold. Phoenicians, Greeks, and Romans all sought access to its limitless wealth. However, the Nubians did not surrender their gold without a fight. They fiercely defended their mines, built fortifications, and developed sophisticated mining techniques that still amaze archaeologists today. Legends say that some Nubian gold mines remain hidden to this day, their locations known only to a select few, perhaps, beneath the shifting desert sands. Vast treasures still lie waiting to be discovered. Imagine a civilization that could craft pure gold jewelry without modern tools, build pyramids without the wheel, and develop metallurgy ahead of its time. This was Nubia. Their craftsmanship was astonishing. They could smelt gold and silver, creating jewelry that remains unparalleled in beauty. Their weapons were incredibly durable, and their architectural skills were nothing short of an engineering marvel. While the Egyptians relied on copper and bronze, the Nubians advanced iron metallurgy, giving them a significant military advantage. They mastered stonework, constructing structures that still defy logic and time. Nubian pyramids were steeper and narrower than Egyptian ones, yet no less mysterious. Some archaeologists even believe that these pyramids might be older than those of Egypt. But much of their technology and knowledge was lost when Egypt and other civilizations attempted to erase Nubian culture. Today, archaeologists are racing against time to uncover these forgotten secrets, discovering ancient workshops, tools, and technologies that could rewrite history. In movies and books, we often see Egyptians, Romans, and Greeks portrayed as the greatest warriors of the ancient world. But few people realize that the Nubians were among the deadliest fighters of their time. Their weapon of choice was the bow. They were known as the Archers of Tesseti, an elite force capable of unleashing arrows with deadly speed and accuracy. Their bows were longer and more powerful than those of the Egyptians, and their arrows could pierce enemy armor with ease. When the Egyptians first encountered the Nubians in battle, They were shocked by their resilience and combat skill. Eventually, Egypt began hiring Nubian archers into its army, and they became the elite bodyguards of the pharaohs. But the Nubians didn't just fight Egypt. They clashed with the Assyrians, Persians, and even the Romans. Their endurance, knowledge of the terrain, and warrior spirit made them dangerous opponents. Tales of small Nubian forces defeating massive enemy armies still fascinate historians today. They came from the south, seized the Egyptian throne, and ruled as true pharaohs. But their names were erased from history, their statues destroyed, and their legacy buried. These were the Nubian pharaohs, in the 8th century BCE, the mighty kings of Kush conquered Egypt and established the 25th dynasty. They restored temples, expanded borders, and made Egypt stronger than ever. One of the most famous was Pianki, a brilliant general who took Thebes in a single strike and declared himself ruler of all Egypt. But the Egyptian nobility resented the Nubian pharaohs. When their power weakened, Egypt systematically erased their influence, removing their names from temples and historical records. Yet history has a way of correcting itself. Today, archaeologists are uncovering more and more evidence that it was the Nubians who saved Egypt during one of its most turbulent eras. When we hear the word pyramids, we immediately think of the grand monuments of Giza. However, few people know that Nubia has more pyramids than Egypt, over 200. And they still hold many secrets. Nubian pyramids differ from their Egyptian counterparts. They are narrower, taller, and built at steeper angles. Unlike in Egypt, they were not just for pharaohs, but also for nobles and high-ranking officials. Archaeologists continue to debate their exact age. Some even suggest that they may have been built before the famous Egyptian pyramids. Challenging traditional history, another mystery lies in their construction techniques. How did the Nubians build such massive structures in the harsh desert without advanced engineering tools? Some believe they possessed knowledge that was later lost to time. Perhaps, beneath the sands of Nubia, ancient temples and treasure chambers still await their rediscovery. For centuries, Egypt and Nubia were rivals. Egyptian pharaohs depended on Nubian gold, yet they feared the power of this mighty civilization. The Nubians conquered Egypt multiple times, ruled over it, and left a lasting impact on its culture. But when their reign weakened, the Egyptians began rewriting history. After the Nubian pharaohs were overthrown, the Egyptians systematically erased mentions of Nubian influence. Their statues were shattered, temple carvings were defaced, and written records were either destroyed or rewritten to depict Nubians as a secondary, subordinate people. But why was Egypt so determined to erase the memory of Nubia? Perhaps it was because they didn't want to acknowledge that, at key moments in their history, it was the Nubians who ruled Egypt. Or maybe there was something still, hidden within the archives of ancient manuscripts. Nubian gold was not just its treasury, it was also its curse. Everyone wanted it: Egyptians, Persians, and Romans. Long caravans carrying gold ingots and jewelry crossed the endless desert sands. But many never reached their destination. The Nubian Golden Road was one of the most mysterious trade routes of the ancient world. It passed through dangerous desert landscapes, where travelers faced not only bandits but also supernatural forces, according to legend. It was said that those who tried to steal Nubian gold disappeared without a trace among the dunes. Some researchers believe that hidden within this route are the lost riches of vanished caravans, buried under centuries of sand. Perhaps one day, someone will uncover these secret hoards, and the gold of the Nubian kings will once again see the light of day. Kush was a powerful kingdom whose rulers defied Egypt and left behind a vast legacy. But where was its greatest city? While Meru, the known capital of Kush, has been discovered, legends speak of another, even older and grander city that has been lost to time. Some archaeologists believe it lies hidden beneath the sands of Sudan. Others suggest it may have been destroyed by invaders or buried under layers of silt after an ancient flood. Rumors persist that within its ruins, incredible treasures may still be found: golden statues, jewelry, weapons, and artifacts. That could change our understanding of Nubian civilization if this lost city is ever found. It could become one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 21st century. For millennia, Nubia thrived. It survived wars, invasions, and natural disasters. Yet in the end, it vanished. Why? Several factors played a role. First, new enemies arrived: the Roman Empire and Arab conquerors. Second, climate change turned Nubia's once fertile lands into barren desert. But there was also another factor. Egypt and Rome did everything they could to destroy Nubian culture, erasing its writing system and historical records. The last kings of Nubia fought desperately to save their civilization, but time was against them. By the 11th century, the kingdom of Kush had completely disappeared, and its people were forced to merge with other ethnic groups. However, the spirit of Nubia still lives on. It can be seen in the architecture, culture, and traditions of modern Sudan. How much more remains hidden beneath the sands of time? That question remains open, but one thing is clear: Nubia is not just a forgotten civilization. It is a key to understanding the great empires of the past. Although ancient Nubia has long vanished from maps, its legacy still lives on in the culture, architecture, and traditions of modern Sudan and southern Egypt. Many Sudanese people today are descendants of the ancient Nubians, their language Nubian. Dialects is still spoken in some communities. Nubian music and art have also left a lasting mark. Nubian rhythms and dances are performed at festivals, and the distinctive patterns once used in ancient frescoes and jewelry still appear in modern crafts. Even in Egyptian temples, traces of Nubian culture can be found: depictions of Nubian rulers that the Egyptians couldn't completely erase. Nubia's influence is also seen in architecture. Many traditional African homes resemble ancient Nubian dwellings. And in Sudan, monuments that descend from Nubian temples and palaces still stand. Today, archaeologists, researchers, and history enthusiasts are rediscovering Nubia, its history, and its culture. Ancient texts are being restored, inscriptions are being deciphered, and more tourists are traveling to see the breathtaking pyramids which still hold many secrets waiting to be uncovered. Nubian priests were not only spiritual leaders but also keepers of hidden wisdom. They understood the forces of nature, practiced healing techniques, and, according to legends, could even control the elements. Their knowledge was passed down through generations, yet much of it has been lost to time. One of the most mysterious aspects of Nubian magic was the rituals of communication with the gods. In the temples of Kush, ceremonies were held where priests would enter a trance-like state, connecting with ancestral spirits and deities. It was believed that through these rituals, they could foresee the future and even influence the outcome of battles. Nubians were also renowned for their medical knowledge. They used herbs, mineral powders, and even surgical techniques to treat wounds and illnesses. Archaeological findings suggest that Nubian healers performed complex procedures, such as skull trepanation. Did Nubian priests possess knowledge that remains unknown to modern science? Perhaps ancient manuscripts, buried deep in the desert, will one day reveal their secrets. Nubian script remains one of history's greatest mysteries. While scholars have deciphered some Nubian texts, much of the language remains unknown. Why is that? Nubians used multiple writing systems. In the early periods, they borrowed Egyptian hieroglyphs and adapted them to their own language. Later, the Meroitic script emerged, a writing system that has yet to be fully deciphered. Meroitic inscriptions appear on temple walls, columns, and even gold artifacts, proving the importance of writing in their culture, what if these cryptic texts hold vital knowledge? Perhaps they contain information about ancient rituals, divine secrets, or even lost cities. Deciphering the Meroitic language could answer many questions, not only about Nubia, but also about the history of the ancient world. For a long time, Nubia remained overshadowed by Egypt. But in recent decades, archaeologists have made astonishing discoveries. Beneath the sands of Sudan, they have uncovered not only pyramids and temples, but entire cities that may have been centers of civilization. One of the most significant discoveries is the exploration of Meru, the capital of the Kingdom of Kush. Temples, sculptures, and complex irrigation systems have been found here, proving the Nubians' advanced engineering skills. Royal tombs filled with golden artifacts further confirm the wealth and power of this civilization. Modern technology, such as satellite imaging and laser scanning, is helping archaeologists locate hidden structures beneath the desert. Perhaps soon, even more secrets of Nubia will be revealed, rewriting the history of the ancient world. How much more is buried under the layers of time? This question remains unanswered. But one thing is certain: Nubia is not just a forgotten civilization. It is a key to understanding the great empires of the past. Nubian gold was a source of immense wealth, but it also carried terrifying curses. According to ancient legends, workers who mined gold in Nubian shafts often encountered mysterious occurrences. People would vanish. Strange symbols appeared on mine walls, and sometimes entire mines collapsed for no apparent reason. It was believed that the spirits of ancient rulers and priests had placed curses upon these sites to prevent the gold from falling into enemy hands. Egyptians, Romans, and Arabs who tried to control these mines recorded eerie tales of strange deaths, illnesses, and misfortunes that haunted the gold seekers. Even today, locals claim that the old mines are cursed and that Nubian gold brings misfortune. Can modern researchers uncover the truth behind these cursed mines, or will Nubian gold forever remain shrouded in mystery and fear? Today, many Nubian artifacts and treasures are not in Sudan, but in museums in London, Paris, Berlin, and Washington. How did they end up there? This is a subject of intense debate among historians and politicians. In the 19th and 20th centuries, European archaeologists and explorers actively studied Nubia, some legitimately, others simply taking its treasures without permission. Statues, gold jewelry, crowns, and even mummies of Nubian rulers were sold to private collectors or placed in museums. Many of these artifacts remain there today, despite calls for their return. Can these treasures ever be brought back to Nubia? Or will they remain part of Western collections forever? Where are the legendary hoards of Nubian kings? This is one of the most intriguing mysteries in archaeology. It is well known that Nubian rulers possessed immense wealth. They built magnificent temples, adorned themselves with golden crowns, and accumulated vast reserves of treasures. But while Egyptian riches have been found in the pyramids and tombs of pharaohs, what happened to Nubia's vast fortunes? Some researchers believe that during times of war and invasion, the Nubians hid their treasures in secret locations, underground tombs, caves, or beneath the desert sands. Others suggest that the gold was taken by conquerors and now lies in unknown private collections. Perhaps future archaeological discoveries will lead to the unveiling of Nubian royal gold, revealing new chapters in history. While most ancient civilizations rarely allowed women to hold high positions of power, Nubia was different here. Women ruled entire kingdoms. The queens of Nubia, known as Kandeks, were not only political leaders, but also warriors who defended their lands from foreign threats. One of the most famous Kandeks was Queen Amonarinas. She is remembered as a fierce warrior who fought against the Roman Empire and managed to negotiate a favorable peace treaty with the mighty Emperor Augustus. Other Kandeks also played crucial roles in governing the country, commanding armies, and actively participating in religious rituals. How did they maintain power in a world where men dominated politics? What secrets do ancient chronicles hold about these great Nubian queens? The history of these women proves that Nubia was a unique civilization, where the strength and wisdom of female rulers played a decisive role.